Hello, I'm Frank THOLE from Germany. My topic is mergers and acquisitions in the German banking industry. So I focus on this specific scope. When we have a look at the development in the number of banks in Germany in the last 30 years, we can see the number of banks is decreasing since we experience a certain consolidation, and this comes surely with M&A transactions. So at the moment, really accelerating mergers and acquisitions in banking we experience in Germany as in other countries. But on the other hand, really, there is evidence that a significant number of M&A transactions not fulfilling their expectations of realizing synergies. There's a lot of evidence in the literature. One potential reason might be the insufficient focus on one of the drivers being the suitability complementary of the targets and bidders' business strategies in the context of realizing synergies. In terms of theoretical classification within the increasing number of M&A research studies, increasing complexity, we have four schools of thoughts. The most important one for this area I focus on is the strategic management school with the efficiency theory, the strategic similarity theory, and the resource-based view as underlying theories. In terms of research deficits, I did the literature research and figured out what we know, what we do not know, why is this relevant, and despite of all the research done so far, really we have only we have a lack of a micro level understanding of the relationship between business strategy, suitability, complementarity, and the synergy realization. And there's also lack on specific industries in specific countries. That is the reason why I focused on the banking industry in Germany. We have a lack on in-depth insights into the degree of the drivers which really maximize the synergy realization. And we also have a lack of the related in-depth understanding in international M&A transactions by anchoring the sample in one country, meaning my focus is M&A transaction between German banks and another international banks, and also the impact of new drivers. So the research question finally is, how do suitability, complementarity of the business strategy of the target and the business affect synergy realization of the M&A transactions in the German banking industry? For this purpose, I figured out from top journals like Strategic Management Journal and so on, 5 constructs with a number of items behind. So I have 5 independent variables with 21 items. The independent variable with 30 items behind is synergy realization. All those come from, all those constructs are the dependent variable relies also on the online survey and realized synergies. So those are the 13 items for the synergy realization. 2 items I added because They are very recent in terms of regulatory requirements and digitalizations. And research design and setting. I did a quantitative empirical approach with online questionnaires, performed regression analysis with plus structural equation models, and I collected between 2007 2017 all M&A transactions between German banks and corresponding international cross-border transactions. Finally, 263 participants joined. Response rate, it's a common robustness tests with fulfilling the common standard principles that exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, the common reliability and validity checks, and so the model turns out to be robust. When this is also proven by the R-squared, the adjusted R-squared F value, and so on. When doing the regression analysis, I performed a hierarchical regression approach, so started with only the control variables and then added one construct after the other. The correlation matrix procedure was confirmed. So finally, 3 out of the 5 hypotheses were supported, 2 were rather falsified. And what does it mean in terms of contributions? First, as you might have realized, this is a quite unique scope and approach with a narrow scope, and this helps to gain important new insights with the focus on banking industry in Germany, including M&A transactions. I also performed dedicated sensitivity analysis on the different German bank pillars, and it could be supported that the strategic orientation, cost and product is positively associated with the realization of synergies. The same is valid for the combination potential, which has not been empirically validated for this specific scope so far. It is also worth to mention that this differs a little bit between the different banking groups. No support for the significance of strategic orientation on product through group analysis on private banks and domestic banks was revealed. But interestingly, no further major differences between pure domestic and cross-border M&A banking transactions. Relatedness to target markets, entrepreneurial orientation were not supported to be significantly associated with the synergy realization. And for the U-shape, S-shape patterns, I analyzed in terms of polynomial regression analysis. I could provide evidence that the coefficients themselves were significantly, but not all of the conditions required by Lind and Melum. So here we need further research. Limitations, yeah, the scope is limited only to suitability and complementarity, not to cultural aspects and PMI. Solely the study depends on the outcome of the online survey, There are also other approaches to measure the synergy realization. One could also choose another time period, and instead of this quantitative analysis research approach, one could also do in other future researches complement this by qualitative data. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frank, for your presentation. And I have a just question for this presentation. I think maybe your another study is also quantitative study. Who are the respondents of your study? Are they
bank managers really? Bank managers really involved in the M&A transactions through 2007 and 2017. So to say, really those who are involved in projects and who well could assess really what the performance like in the following years.
Thank you very much, sir.